we're going to be going over cerebral metamorphosis through catabolic torture, or as we decided to call it, You versus You, because that sounds way better. So let's go over the intro drums. It's just this snare and this kick. Sounds different, eh? That's because we gotta do some shit to it to make it sound like that. So you'll see I have kick and snare routed into this bus called kick snare. Just a soft clipper on it right now. To get that super compressed sound, you compress it super hard. I use Gain Reduction by Joey Sturgis because I like it. I mean, that's pretty much it. So super compressed kick and snare together to bring us a super compressed kick and snare together. Here during the break, I have the regular drums come in. See, they sound weak sauce right now, but that compression thing I showed you earlier, a separate. I routed them to ascend, you know, did the whole parallel compression thing. And I just bounced it out to save the CPU. And then together, it sounds nice. These cymbals are from Metal Step Mayhem. Metal Step Mayhem by Phase 1. I have a crash and China. And then we have the verse drums, which is just this. I was going for like an old school hip hop type of vibe. So I use the same drums I would use when I'm making lo-fi. And then I have the reverb on a separate send. A really small room. Yeah, those hats are nice. I used a lot of rock cymbals. It blends with the old school hip hop type of vibe really well, and it's also a rock song. So these are all from Sullivan King and Phase 1. Those are the places to go for rock drum samples, for certainly. And we got this little. You can see that's just a snare. We got this standard ominous, whatever break is, you know what I'm talking about. And I was just getting bored of doing like tuk 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 tuk. So I was like, I just want to switch it up. I put a delay on it. I don't really remember. Compress the shit out of it as always. And then I have this drum to give it like a techno rumble type of feel in the background. When a slick comes in, instead of having the rock hats, I have these trap hats. Decap. Yep, decap and murder beats. If I said I still fuck with you, can't lie, I'm just fucking you. I had this snare come in once, and it's the only time it's used in the whole song. And that was just to like let you know we're doing rap now. This is a rap song now. We have decap snares because this is a rap song now. I started burping like that as a joke, and now I can't stop. But so I have the same verse drums pretty much, just high passed a little. And then I have these crashes, this crash, and this ride. Because when he came in, I wanted it to sound even more old school hip hop. I also made the reverb on the drums for his part a little louder. I just wanted it to sound like really big. That's it for the drums. The guitarros. Yes, I like the guitarros. Well, what I have going on here is power chords and a harmony. So that's the MIDI for the main guitar part. The harmony is just major third. Because I really wanted to give that like old school pentatonic feel. And you can hear a little bit of a fade in too. That is because my guitar chain goes something like this. I'll do an EQ, get rid of pretty much the fundamental, and I high pass it as much as I can, and then let the bass cover the fundamental frequency. And then I'll use JST guitars. And this is the problem with that, is it introduces this little click. Yeah, you hear that? But I fucking love the plugin. So I had to find a way around that click. The click only happens right when it first starts processing it. So what I'll do is I'll put a utility, Fruity Balance, which is just controls the volume. I'll mute the volume, and then I will control the mix. I will duplicate the sample before it comes in, and then have it muted right there. So the click is happening, but since the volume automation is after the click, you don't hear it. And sometimes I'll do a little bit of a curve like this, and that's what gives the fade in. The plugins for guitars, there's something, I don't know if it's just Impact Soundworks, but somewhere around here sounds really bad. What I'll usually do is go to Guitars, Electric, Digitize Software Amp, and it just makes it sound. And if the guitar is for a chorus and the vocal is the main focus, I'll sometimes use this wider guitar bus preset, which I'm assuming is just like a mid-side EQ thing. It just makes them sound wider. It tames the harsh frequencies. And then right here, I have my bass guitar. Gen Bass by Submission Audio. And I can show you what that looks like. It make it a nice bass sound. Yeah, right here, Gen Bass. I'll also do the same thing I do with guitars pretty much. Oh, and I always scoop the lows out of the bass because I want the kick to take up that area. And then I'll do JST, BG bass. And then I almost always put a pretty hard limiter on the bass just to keep a consistent low end. I'd scoop out somewhere around the 120 to 300 range. Probably at like, I'll low pass it to. The only other guitars whenever Slick comes in.
Gonna come back to you even if I wanted to.
I've already exported it with the automation, but I have a low pass filter. Then whenever he comes in, I just wanted to have like, because it's mainly about the beat when he's rapping, so it's more rappy, but but I wanted to have that still the guitar to keep the rock vibe going. No effects in the intro really. And just before it kicks in, just have this little reverse. It's the same sample I used in Lazarus Rising. That's just the root note of the key just to give it some more space, make it feel bigger. Ooh, and this is cool. Let me see if I can find the original sample actually. There it is. I took it down 3 semitones. And then I just... And then I have it sidechain to the kick. So it ducks in volume every time the kick hits. I sidechain using Shaper Box. I have this MIDI out right here that follows the same pattern as the kick. And I have this preset. But yeah. I usually have it cut out pretty drastically because I like the sound of it being sidechained, so I don't just do it for practical reasons. I also do it because I like the sound of it being like overly like ducked out. I have the mix of Shaper Box to go off right here, so before the kick comes in, it just sounds like. And then I have Valhalla, Shimmer, and the EQ, all the mix levels going up. And that's what gives it that fade out effect, is going into a completely wet reverb and also going through a bandpass filter. And that's what the EQ is doing. And I've got the 808. Just a really simple, pretty weak sounding 808. Yeah, literally no effects at all going on it. And then I have this little piano, which I really like. And that's probably just FL keys. It's either FL keys or flex. It's something stock though. And to get that sound, all that is I had it EQ'd probably like that. And then it's heavily distorted, and I have delay before the distortion. So yeah, it just gives it more of an eerie, ChillPanic vibe. I actually really like the effects on the pre-chorus, even though you can't hear them very well. Just have a standard impact sound. A glitch just repeating. Have this little chime riser. And I have this melody going on that follows the melody of the vocals. Short riser, another riser, and then I have this, I've been doing this a lot lately. So that is actually a vocal of somebody saying, woo! And I'll show you the original sample. So I just pitched it up. Yeah. And I stretched it a little bit. Of distortion, delay. And then some reverb. I have this crowd roar coming in during the chorus. And this one. I don't know why I have two of them in there. To get us to Slick's part, I wanted it to glitch a little bit. So I have a glitch that I made. And then I have a Virtual Riot glitch that I use in almost every song. And I have this little LFO reverse. And together it just gives a nice little transition. And then when Slick comes in, I have this, which is just a sample of a water harp. I think it's really good when you have somebody else coming in on a song to do some type of effect or ambience that is like indicative of their style. And he's usually kind of dark and stuff, and it's like he's talking and the energy's building and it's getting darker, and so I have that.
Never gonna come back to you even if I wanted to.
See, without it, it's just
Never gonna come back to you even if I wanted to. Restless.
just sounds kind of empty. I wanted his part to sound really hype too, so I have crowd come back in. And you see the crowd comes in every time the guitar comes in. So it just sounds really hype. And I have a gong, which is cool. Then when he says punch, I have this little bell, like this little fight bell come in. It's really short, but
KO went to punch. Now I'm one foot stumbling. Okay, it's too.
oh, one of my favorite things right here is the choir. This is the MIDI for that. I have this at the end. I just felt like it added a little hype to it. Oh, also I have this. I wanted it to sound sort of like your ear was ringing, like the beat. And his voice is just so hard that it's just making your ears ring from how good it is. Was the vibe I was going for. That's it for the synths and effects. Yep. We go to my boy Slick and his vocals. So basically, I actually have a really fucking hard time with fast rap vocals because the transients are just coming at you like asteroids, and you're playing Galaga and you're trying to figure out how the fuck you're gonna survive all these transients. So usually for my own vocals, I use like a really fast attack, really slow release, because I want my shit just like crushed and loud as fuck. And with his vocals, he really likes to not be like that and sound like it's like just right there, so you're getting like the raw vocal performance. So it took me a long time to be able to nail that down. I still have trouble with it because my, you know, as you can see, I still compress the fuck out of that. But before I do that, sometimes I'll use a transient shaper if it's like really fast and it's having trouble picking out all the words. And yeah, and if I don't use a transient shaper, I'll just use a compressor, a slower attack, and a faster release.
Never gonna come back to you, even if I wanted to. Restless, something told me to leave, that's what it's coming to. Dead inside.
And then I made a fake double right here.
Never gonna come back to you, even if I wanted to. Restless, something told me to leave, that's what it's coming to.
Which is just a super small room reverb, high mod depth, high mod rate. You can check out the Lazarus Rising if you want to see like an in-depth tutorial on how to do fake doubles. And then I have parallel compression.
Never gonna come back to you, even if I wanted to. Restless, something told me to leave.
So that's just a neutron, which has a preset with a little bit of saturation, a boost in the high end, and then I have a really hard limiter on it. And then I have this reverb, small room, short pre-delay, short decay. Oh, and got a little low vocal here. Sounds like an old man. But yeah, just format shifted it down, took the pitch down some, and added distortion and a low pass filter. And now when his vocals come in here, they really needed to sound louder and more hype to compete with the beat and everything. So I have, whenever he sends me the vocals, I have like the things he wants emphasis on.
Tell the truth, I'm left bruised up like Matador in a run from you. Tell the truth, I'm left bruised up like Matador in a cage. KO went 2 punch.
But sometimes when I get those, it makes it sound emptier whenever there's not a spot that has the emphasis, and like it gets quieter. So that's another reason I have the fake.
Run from you. Tell the truth, I'm left bruised up on the ground where you wanted me till I blew up.
So that way it always has the width and everything. And what's this?
On the ground where you wanted me to. On the ground where you wanted me till I blew up.
Oh, I forgot about that. But that's just a tonal delay.
On the ground where you wanted me till I blew up.
And whenever this part comes in, it sounds more ambient. So I added these birds. 'Cause you know I fuck with birds. Alright, and then...
Like the sky rise above all of your lies. You've been two-faced for too long. I think it's time to put it...
And since it sounds more ambient, I also made the reverb louder.
Like the sky rise above all of your lies.
So you can hear the difference right here.
Wanted me till I blew up. Like the sky rise above all of your lies. You've been two-faced for too long. I think it's time to put aside all the pride and...
So that way it gives it this, yeah, just more ambience. So I just have You is completely drowned out in reverb.
It's new, it's just how you is.
Yep. And that's all for SLxC Vocals. So right here in the intro, this is just me belting out break. That was actually by accident because I was just warming up my voice and I was trying to figure out how I was going to do the chorus. So I just belted that out, and then I was going through the files and I was like, oh shit, this sounds pretty cool. So I used it. And then I stretched it out because what I actually sung was just break, and that was it. I thought it would sound cool to bring in that major third to give it that old school rock vibe. So, and you can even hear it sounds sort of melodined because it has that little pitch glide. Yeah, this is already bounced out with soothe, compression, gain reduction, and neutron.
My skin is sticking together, my skeleton is just a nuisance.
That reverb you hear is actually not reverb. I was just in a small room when I recorded it.
My skin is sticking together, my skeleton is just a nuisance.
And then I have...
My skin is sticking together,
I don't know why I have that. I have a little bit of a delay. And then I have an LFO on the panning. So it's and that's just increasing the speed of the LFO. Just to give it some more movement. So then I have this little verb thing, which is just drowned out in reverb and with the LFO on the panning again. I have a little glitch before I say when. When did I get contaminated? Yeah. Judas. And then right here on the pre-chorus,
memories dance and sway, they will all betray.
I have this going on. Which is just a reverse reverb. So basically what I did is just bounce out this whole thing.
Memories dance and sway.
Reversed it, put a small room reverb on it, bounced it out, and then reversed it again. And that gives you like the ghosty reverse reverb effect. Yeah, so whenever I said burn away, I wanted it to sound really intense.
Watch them burn away!
So I just have like a distorted layer, and then I automate the reverb to go up completely wet. And then we have the chorus, which is 2 layers of me just yelling.
Break through the enemy's you! Caught up in a lie 'cause you're scared of the truth! Push back!
So, which is this.
Break through the enemy's you!
And this.
Break through the enemy's you!
You know, just different timbres to give it a different vibe, then some distortion.
Break through the enemy's you! Caught up in a lie 'cause you're scared of the truth!
Reverb. And then I have this little delay.
Come back! Never gonna come back!
And then whenever SLxC comes in, or right before he comes in, I have this.
You're never gonna come back!
I think I yelled it a little differently, and then I also have it rising in pitch.
You're never gonna come back! Never gonna come back!
And before the build up to the chopped part, I have this.
You're never gonna come back!
Which is just, I have the mix volume, or the mix level of the delay come in, and I do that classic, you know, tonal delay.
You're never gonna come back!
Which is just like a really short delay. It feels like it builds hype for me, because I'm a big fan of like dubstep and bass music and stuff, so to get your head knocking with the tonal delay. So this is how I made that.
You're never gonna come back! Come back!
So I just have the chorus bounced out and then loaded into SLxC. And that part I just left in because it sounds like I'm saying Pikachu. Oh, Pikachu! And then when I do this little thing, I just have something that's sliced up and then reversed. Oh yeah, I just have this one reversed versus meow, and then I have push. So yeah. And then this little reverse reverb thing. And then I have the MIDI for the sliced up vocals get a little bit crazier. Just a little bit though, just to add some variation.
You're never gonna come back. You're gonna push. Come back.
These little notes right here are slide notes in FL Studio, so you can just do the pitch bending right there in the MIDI. But if you don't have that, you can just, use pitch bend.